Hi and welcome. Caroline Best of Horsemanship. This is Everything Horses and More blog. And you're in my office, welcome. And today we are filming Understanding the Basics of Horse Training, the common do's, don'ts, and myths, because I'm gonna be busting on somebody. And we are taking a look right now at Clinton Anderson, specifically. One of my bloggers wrote in and she'd like me to talk a little bit about his training method. I can't personally talk enough about it because I can't stand it. This particular, I wanted you all to see my screen. We're also linked up to my TV in my office. So we'll be watching some of this video, not all of it from the TV, but this has over 1 million views in 4 years. How to teach a horse to stand still while being mounted. This is such a huge topic for me. And again, having a horse stand still is a mindset. It's not a technique. I am so sick and tired of trainers out there teaching you how to lead your horse up there, go several times around the mounting block, keep repositioning your horse, maybe take your riding whip or your dressage whip or whatever you have and tap the hindquarters over. It's not about technique, you guys. If your horse can't stand still, there's a deeper cause. There's a reason. And nobody wants to deal with it, including Clinton Anderson. He doesn't want to deal with the deeper cause. He just wants this horse to be obedient and at any cost. One of the things or the reasons why, one of many, I think maybe it's the biggest reason why I want to watch some of this video with you, again, is to train your eye. So many of you, like the blogger that wrote in, you see this, it doesn't sit well with you, it upsets you, but unfortunately, maybe your horse community or the people around you or your barn is in favor of Clinton Anderson's method. And so you're constantly being told how to handle your horse with a lot of pressure, a lot of force, a lot of dominance, a lot of aggression. And I get these emails all the time. I've just been waiting to do my blog to really be able to talk about this and not just sympathize with you guys and agree with you, but to point out all the subtleties that are wrong about this and how the horse is constantly being compromised emotionally and mentally and physically. I mean, they're being berated and there's a level of abuse going on here, especially when you see this video of the owner. I don't know how she feels about this today. I'm not going to pick on her. She's trying to get help. But she's yanking on the horse's mouth with a bit. Oh my gosh, this horse has a long shank. So, you know, there's more torque to the curb bit. I don't even know what kind of bit this horse has because it's a little blurry, fuzzy. And I apologize ahead of time if we lose connection because I'm out in the country and I'm by satellite and we've already had a rain shower earlier today. So if it starts raining heavily, we're gonna lose the connection completely. But we'll pick up. We'll film later and we'll just pick up for the next time. So let's talk a little bit more about the mindset of mounting. And for you guys coming back into horses and wanting to learn a new method, or for new horse owners, I can't emphasize that enough that most trainers and instructors out there at whatever level, whether they're international clinician like Clinton or they're just your community trainer and instructor, they are going to only have so much knowledge. I mean, Clinton obviously has a complete training method and he knows how to start and finish horses. Whether it's a good way is up to you. I think it's horrible, but most people don't, unfortunately, horse trainers or instructors, most of them don't follow a program or a training system. And it's wrong. You don't have a good education, bottom line. I have a training system. I studied a training system. All the great masters studied a training system. If they didn't, they created one, and I've created my own training system. So the whole bottom line is you're following a curriculum in education so that you have a solid level of knowledge, skill sets, and from there, I mean, that's your foundation. It's like your undergrad. And from there, you can decide, I have enough. I'm perfectly content with the knowledge and the skills and the relationship and partnership I have with my horse. Or you can say, I want to study more and specialize, and that's where you would go into studying that particular method on a deeper level and get your master's or your doctorate. I like to say that I'm constantly working on my theses, and because I'm always learning and studying, so I'm always a learner. The most important thing when you follow a system or a curriculum is the approach that you take for each individual. It's no different than when we went to school as kids. You know, you go to school starting 5th grade, you're taught the same, you know, depending on the county and the school system in the state, you're pretty much, there's standards, right? You're taught the same standards across the board throughout the country. Each state, each county is a little more specific with how they want to teach or which book they want to teach. But we're all supposed to learn the same things when we enter 5th grade and 6th grade, or when we enter kindergarten at 5, and then 1st grade, 2nd, 3rd, all the way up until we get out of high school. And then it's up to us whether or not we want to go and get an undergrad. And even your undergrad, you're young, you're 18, 19 years old. You know, college isn't for everyone. It's a shame that when you go in Europe, it's totally different, and I like their system better. But in America, it's a shame we can't just go into a trade school and specialize right away and get a foundation. Instead, we have to go to a 4-year education to become well-rounded. I know, I did it. I'm not even doing what I went to school for, and I paid for it. I paid my way through college, and wow. So anyway, it's the point I'm making though is you need that level of education. If you just look at the common sense of a training system, it needs to be correct, and meaning it has to have good building blocks that you build upon, so you see progression as well as you're able to go backtrack and diagnose when you get stuck. And the second part of that is it's all about the teacher. It's all about the approach that's taken to that specific individual, whether it's a horse or a person. So the teacher is going to either make the class or break the class. And it's a lot of work for a teacher. I'm a teacher, but every student, whether it's a person or a horse that comes to me, is treated as an individual. It's my job to assess their learning aptitude and their level of confidence as a learner, because it's going to make or break their learning, period. Bottom line, black and white. So I get frustrated with the majority of the horse trainers and instructors out there that haven't studied professionally. They don't have a strong foundation. They're constantly trying to sell you quick tips, techniques, and strategies to put a Band-Aid on something without understanding the deeper cause or reason for why your horse is doing X, Y, and Z. And that's where I'm headed with this video. So it's harsh, you know, I'm going to point out how harsh everything is. Most importantly, I'm going to point out how uncomfortable this whole approach of Clinton's is for this horse. So you may not like it, and it's all subjective anyway, unfortunately. But if you just listen to the horse and watch the horse, let them tell you whether they like it or not. And this horse has got a tight lower lip, it's stressed out, it stands there absolutely petrified and paralyzed with fear when Clinton goes to get on, wide-eyed, head high, which tells me it's on alert and adrenaline. It's not relaxed. Like when I go to mount a horse and I get permission to get on, I ask for permission. I wait. I develop that horse so that I will get permission. But I don't just get on and ride any horse. I never do. Every horse that comes to me, and even if I have a clinic, a riding clinic, I will not get on that student's horse if I don't assess it well enough to feel safe enough. And the whole point is I want permission so that when I do get on that horse, it's absolutely relaxed. There is no relaxed and accepting of me. There is no technique out there that's going to make the horse want you on its back. The more technique you use, the more you're going to prove to the horse that you shouldn't be on its back. The more force you're going to have, the horse is eventually going to break down mentally and give up or fight you until it gives up. Or most horses are passive by nature to begin with as a species. Horses are passive by nature, and most are passive by personality type. So they're going to choose the freeze mode, not the fight or the flight mode. They're going to choose the freeze. And you guys are all taught to think that that's permission to get on, or your horse is ready for you. It's not. And you're going to see this horse freeze for Clinton because it's absolutely petrified. And then the baloney, the malarkey, the BS about him saying, all right, well, move your horse's feet. If it doesn't want to stand still, move its feet. You know, I tried that. I was taught that method too, not by him, but by natural horsemanship. And you know, that's one of the things I can't stand about natural horsemanship. One of many things is this BS about if your horse can't keep his feet still, move them. Oh, I was taught the same thing, and my little Arab legend, all it did was escalate everything until this little horse was just screaming and spinning out of control underneath of me. And I was scared. I was scared for him because he could throw himself down on me. He would just absolutely, if you push that little Arab too hard, I could control him because I'm pretty strong and a pretty big person for my little 14-2 Arab. But he learned to throw himself down, like some horses learn to throw themselves over. Legend would just throw himself down. He just would absolutely implode. And that was his only way of getting me off of him and telling me, screaming at me, that he is just hit his threshold. It only took a couple times, and I was ballistic. I was crying so hard, you guys. I was sobbing. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was angry at my clinician, top natural horsemanship clinician. I was angry, but respectful at that point. Wasn't going to say anything, or I just couldn't believe. So moving their feet around, all you're doing is beating them up, you guys. You're just being dominant. And like I said, most horses are passive by nature, so they're gonna wave that little white flag and surrender and submit to you because that's just their nature. But man, I have had so many horses who are fighters and flighters. And you guys, horse owners, you're not trainers, you don't have the experience or just the experience of working with horses like that. I don't want to push a horse to that point. I want to avoid that and teach the horse that there's a better way, a thinking way, and I will never push him to that point. And you can thank my little Arab for helping me gain a lot of clarity and to stop following the natural horsemanship method because it was all about the horse. It's all a bunch of BS. Marketing person. That was my life before I got back into horses. I know what advertising is like. I know the manipulation of language. I never branded my company in DC as an advertising firm. It was a marketing firm. I was all about developing small brands and small companies, and I really tried to stay clear of the mass manipulation that is out there in marketing and advertising. You guys, it is so much manipulation, it would blow your mind. So they use all these key words that you want to hear. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear, but their actions don't support what they say. Look at the actions. Look at the actions of what this woman's being taught. Look at Clinton's actions. Look at the actions of this horse. It's miserable. It's not right. I don't care what they're saying, how much they talk about connection or your horse wanting to be with you or partnership. He just takes it to a whole nother level, and it's horrible. But in general, and that'll be another Mythbuster series that I do on just natural horsemanship. And I'd rather be considered classical than natural because I follow a classical horsemanship, the art of horsemanship, Xenophon, classical dressage, the art of horsemanship, classical horsemanship. And horsemanship, basically, by definition, is all about riding, developing your horse into a wonderful riding mount in partnership, basically. That's the definition of horsemanship. It's not about groundwork, per se. It's not the way it's been twisted and manipulated out there. So all of these people that are being drawn and attracted to natural horsemanship, you really need to be careful. And again, that'll be a whole nother episode. Let's move on to talk about, and we're now going to just take the camera and take a look at the TV monitor. Wow, this is my first time using it like this, you guys, so hopefully it won't be too complicated. Again, this is how to teach your horse to stand still. We're going to pay a lot of attention to reading all the subtleties of why this is wrong in the expression of the horse and in the harshness of how they're treating this.